Game 2 of the 2024 NBA Finals took place last night, and if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you know the outcome. So let's get into the review of this game, what Dallas needed to do, what they failed to do, what Boston did well, and at the end of the video, we'll answer the question, can the Dallas Mavericks turn this around, or is this series over for them as they know it? Let's get right into it. The most shocking thing about Game 1 was how well of a job Boston did at eliminating the lob threat and the corner three for Dallas. I mentioned this in my Game 1 recap video, but Dallas role players shot just 1 for 2 from the corner three in Game 1. And I was super curious because Dallas's offense looked unstoppable versus Minnesota, so I took a look at their corner three numbers in that series as a whole, and Dallas role players shot 17 for 37 from 3, which is good for 46%, so you can see the stark difference in those numbers. In Game 2, if Dallas wants to open up their offense, they're going to have to get the corner threes going, and if not, role players are going to have to hit those wing above the break threes that Boston was giving them in Game 1. The first thing I noticed in this game was Luka does not get back on the first possession for Boston, an easy layup for Drew Holiday, and immediately a positive sign for Dallas. PJ Washington makes his first three-point attempt of the game. It was above the break at the wing spot, a really good sign if you're a Mavs fan. Luka's cooking early in this one. You can tell he's determined not to go down 2-0 heading back to Dallas. In the first quarter, Jason Kidd wastes the Mavericks challenge on a play that honestly didn't really matter because Boston would have gotten the ball even if they would have won the challenge. I thought it was a super risky challenge without much reward. It's unsuccessful and the Mavericks lose their challenge for the rest of the game. Maxi Kleber has not been very good in my opinion since returning from injury in that Clippers series, but I mean, it makes sense. He fully dislocated his right shoulder and you can just tell when he's shooting he does not have the same confidence or even the same comfortability. He was shooting over 50% from 3 in that Clippers series before getting hurt. In this game, he goes 0 for 2, including this miss right here, and he's shooting just 1 for 6 from 3 since coming back in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Jaylen Brown locked up Kyrie Irving on this possession. He's been having himself an incredible series, but what's impressed me the most is his on-ball defense in this series. With Boston deciding to take away the lob threat and to take away the corner threes, there's been immense pressure on on-ball defenders to stay in front of Luka and Kyrie. Jaylen Brown has done a phenomenal job of doing so. And in this first quarter, the Celtics would shoot just 1 for 9 from 3, with their first 3 of the quarter coming from Al Horford with just seconds left in the period. Dallas leads 28-25 at the end of the first. This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the global men's lifestyle brand that is revolutionizing men's grooming. And today we are showcasing the Perfect Package 5.0. And of course, the headliner for this package is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. My favorite part about this is they continually make the skin safe technology better, which is an absolute game changer for me. And yes, I am married, but I'm telling you guys, married guys need to make sure they take care of themselves as well. Now with this Lawnmower 5.0, you get 2 different heads. This trimmer head is great for starters, laying the foundation, but where it gets really interesting is when you replace the trimmer head with the new foil blade. They really are a 1-2 punch. The trimmer blade will do a majority of the work, and then the foil blade comes in and finishes the job, leaving your skin as smooth as can be. Now, the Lawnmower 5.0 also has an LED light on it, which is bigger and better than ever. And it also includes a travel lock to ensure this doesn't go off when you're traveling in your suitcase. And as always, this Lawnmower 5.0 is waterproof. So yes, you can use it in the shower, but don't have too much fun in there. The Perfect Package 5.0 is also going to come with this crop preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, and of course, a crop soother as well, an aftershave lotion. So what are you waiting for? Join me and the 10 million men worldwide who have chosen Manscaped for our hygiene needs. Head over to manscaped.com and get the Perfect Package 5.0 Ultra today. Use my code HARDWOOD for 20% off. Yes, 20% off, guys. plus free shipping worldwide. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. But it's not the best news for the Mavericks because I promise you Boston isn't shooting 1 for 9 from 3 the rest of the game. Luka and Kyrie would combine for 21 of those 28 first quarter points, and that may be the recipe for this series. You may just need godlike performances on the offensive end from Luka and Kyrie, because up until now, this supporting cast for Dallas has been zero help on offense. Early into the second quarter, Luka has not slowed down. He's now 8 for 10 from the field to start this game with 20 points already. A few possessions later, the Celtics take their first lead of the game. I have no idea what the Mavericks' individual defensive rules are, but it cannot be ideal for PJ Washington to help strong side down on Jason Tatum while he's posting up Derek Lively, leaving Derek White open for 3. And here's back-to-back possessions where Luka has 2 sick passes and his teammates just cannot convert. We've now gotten to the point where Derek Jones Jr. is turning down corner threes. Dallas cannot have this. He's absolutely in his head. Drew Holiday, corner 3, who has had a fantastic first half. He goes 7 for 9 with 17 points. I do gotta say though, Jason Tatum is not shooting it well at all. In this series in particular and in general in the playoffs, he's 2 for 9 at half with just 5 points, but he does have 8 assists. And I will say he's played such an important and impressive role on the defensive end, anchoring that defense and taking away Lively and Gafford lobs. After leading a majority of the first half, the Mavericks are down 54-51. And the worst news for Dallas is that Boston was just 3 for 15 from 3 in that first half. If they're going to win a game in this series, Dallas cannot be scoring 100 points a night. They got to be more up around 110 to 115. We're skipping ahead in the third quarter to this above the break 3 from Derek Jones Jr. He airballs it, and actually had a fellow subscriber named Trey who was kind enough to DM me, and he calculated both PJ Washington and Derek Jones Jr.'s above the break 3-point percentage in the postseason. PJ Washington is shooting just 26.5% above the break from 3, and DJJ is shooting just 26.3%. This was an incredible find from Joe Mazzulla. I can't believe the Timberwolves didn't think of this. Now, you could say that the strategy of letting Luka and Kyrie cook didn't work for the Wolves anyway. Their on-ball defenders were not able to stay in front. However, this defensive game plan from Joe Mazzulla has been a masterpiece in strategy so far. I don't know what Luka is doing on this possession. He had 8 turnovers in this game. I was curious if that was a career high in the playoffs. And according to StatHead, it's just his second time with 8 or more turnovers in a playoff game. His first time, he was just 21 years old. He would have 11 in that Clippers series where he also had 42 points. Here comes another Dallas Maverick with an above the break open 3 that they cannot make. This time it's Josh Green. Boston has extended their lead to 13 now late in this third quarter. Exum hits an open 3. Kristaps Porzingis continues to impress me with his rim protection, something Rudy Gobert couldn't do versus Daniel Gafford. And the Mavericks finish on a 7-0 run to end the third. Well, that's until Peyton Pritchard banks in this 3 as time expires, giving the Celtics an 83-74 lead as we head into the final frame. The Celtics go back up 14 points on this Derek White 3, 103-89 with just a few minutes left in this game. One thing of note, a couple minutes before this, KP looked to retweak that calf that he strained in the first round series versus the Heat. And although he said he's totally fine, so did Joe Mazzulla in the post-game pressers. It's something to monitor for the rest of the series. This and one from Luka Doncic would cap a Dallas Mavericks 9-0 run, making this just a 5-point game with under a minute to go, 103-98. DJJ then comes up with a massive block, and it looks like PJ Washington's going to have a breakaway dunk. Instead, Derek White comes out of nowhere and blocks him. Upon replay, could you say he got pushed a tad by Jaylen Brown in the hip? Maybe. I don't know. It's tough. But that would have been a 3-point game. Dallas would have needed just one stop and could have tied it. Instead, Jaylen Brown seals it with this bucket driving to the basket. And it's game over. The Dallas Mavericks go down 2-0 in the NBA Finals, heading back to Dallas. Just 5 teams in NBA history have gone down 0-2 in the NBA Finals and then ended up winning it all. basketball, the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks, the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, the 2006 Miami Heat, the 1977 Portland Trail Blazers led by Bill Walton, and the 1969 Boston Celtics. So the question remains, can the Dallas Mavericks crawl out of this hole? Or are they officially dead in the water? Absolutely, they can crawl out of this hole, but it has to be done on the offensive end. Dallas has scored just 89 points and 98 points in the first 2 games of this series. So it had me thinking, how many teams have beaten the Boston Celtics this year while scoring less than 100 points? And the answer is absolutely 0. So then I decided to move it up to 110 just for the heck of it, and it's only been 4 teams. The Boston Celtics have lost just 4 times when their opponent scores 110 points or less. So who is it to blame for this Dallas Mavericks offense not being what it should be? Well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely not Luka Doncic. You can say what you want to on the defensive end for him in this series. He's been getting cooked while being switched onto the ball on screens. But offensively, he is about the only thing that's clicking for this Dallas team right now. He finished the game with 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. He also had 3 more potential assists. A couple of those I counted were wide open threes. He does need to clean up the turnovers. He had a couple really bad turnovers in this game, and he finished with 8, which is his second highest in his playoff career. He's averaging 31 points per game in this series, 10.5 rebounds, 6 assists, while shooting 51.1% from the field, 38% from 3. Oddly enough, he's shooting just 46.2% from the free throw line in this series. However, his co-star Kyrie Irving has not had a good offensive series. He's averaging just 14 points per game, 35% from the field, has not made a 3. He's 0 for 8 from 3 in the series. Not only is Kyrie way too good to be doing this in the NBA Finals, positive regression is coming, but also with the way Boston is playing the corner 3 and the lobs, Kyrie is the only other option on offense right now. Dallas absolutely needs Luka and Kyrie to go off for 60 to 70 points in every single game in this series. I mean, just take a look at it. PJ Washington's averaging 15.5 points per game, but he's shooting 45.8% from the field, 12.5% from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. shooting 20% from 3. Josh Green, 25% from 3. Maxi Kleber shooting 20% from the field, has not made a 3 in this series. Even Derek Lively offensively is having an objectively awful series. He's averaging just 2 points per game and has a team worst plus minus of -15. Bottom line is that Luka needs help. And the craziest part about that is that Dallas actually shot it better from the field than Boston in this game, but Boston went 19 for 20 from the free throw line, while Dallas went just 16 for 24. Boston outscored Dallas in fast break points 15-7 and in points off turnovers 21-12. That's the game right there. And if you're a Dallas fan, you have to be kicking yourself because the Celtics shot just 25% from 3. I understand that Dallas shot just 23% from 3 as well, but the Celtics are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. And with that type of volume from 3 comes shot variance. So when they don't shoot it well, you have to capitalize. A lot of people are saying that shot quality is very similar and Dallas is missing just as easy of shots as the Celtics. However, that's where I disagree because the area of the floor matters. And like we said earlier with Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington, they do not shoot it well on above the break threes. Those are the open threes that Boston is giving up, not the corner. So either these role players have to start making these wide open wing threes, or Kyrie has to wake up and take some pressure off of Luka. As far as Daniel Gafford goes, I think this was his better game of the series. Derek Lively, for some reason, I'm still baffled by how stagnant he's been in these games. Jason Tatum is doing such a good job on him, and I don't think anybody thought about that coming into the series. Speaking of Jason Tatum, he finished with 18 points, 12 assists, and 9 boards. That tied his career high for assists in the regular season or the playoffs. Yes, his shooting has been awful, and that should be critiqued. But what I love to see is when his shooting has been poor, he's made up for it in other ways. Like I said, defensively, he's taken the task of guarding Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, two players that Rudy Gobert could not stop in the Western Conference Finals. Again, now part of that is that Rudy Gobert was always stuck in these 2-4-1s. However, Jason Tatum has completely taken away that lob threat, and he deserves all the credit. He's also averaging 8.5 assists in these two games, and so the playmaking is absolutely there. However, he does need to wake up. They have been loading up on him, but he's still taking shots. It's not like his shot volume is way down. He's still taking 19 attempts per game, shooting just 31% from the field, 28% from three, and averaging just 17 points in these finals. Jrue Holiday was the MVP for Boston in this game. He had 26 points, 11 rebounds on 11 for 14 from the field. And if you take a look at a shot chart, they're all super efficient shots. Jrue has just been thriving in this role he's been in. Josh Bowe had a great tweet that I do want to credit. He is the editor for Mavs Moneyball. He found that the Celtics were a perfect 15 of 15 in the restricted area in game 1, 20 of 27 in game 2. And he kind of contradicts me here, which again, Dallas's offense has to be better. But I do agree with him that the Mavericks' strength of rim protection has been almost completely taken away in this series due to Boston's 5-out system. It's been incredibly hard for Gafford and Lively to stay in the paint when they continually get dragged out against lethal three-point shooters. And if you take a look at the Timberwolves' restricted area field goal percentage in the Western Conference Finals, you'll see the stark difference. That is what great spacing does for you. It opens up the lane, and it just makes you wonder what Anthony Edwards would look like with more shooters around him. Like I said, I do believe that Dallas can turn this around. Can they win the series? I don't know. Probably not. Can they make this a 6-game series? Probably. Jason Kidd has a lot to figure out over the next couple days. You probably can unlock the lob threat a lot easier than you can those corner threes that the Celtics are denying. I expect Kyrie Irving to have a massive game in game 3, and if they win game 3, who knows, man, this series could be wide open again. That does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Thank you all for your support, and as always, we'll see ya on the hardwood.